It's a beautiful morning here at Pure Joy Farms. Kiana and I are out admiring the frost on the trees. It was below zero last night, but we have an exciting delivery coming today. When we were reviewing our 2018 Outlander PHEV, we said that we had actually placed an order back in January of 2019 for a Rivian R1S. And it said we would get home delivery with that back when we placed that order. And here we are, January 2023, and it should be coming up the driveway shortly. Kiana has no idea what she's waiting for, but knows we're out here looking at something. We've been planning on putting solar panels up here, and I just haven't had time to get to it, but are excited to have the opportunity to have a vehicle that can be truly solar powered. And we were fortunate enough to purchase this vehicle at the price that it was originally announced back in 2018, which makes it much more affordable. Unfortunately, the price has gone up significantly, but we're hoping it'll be a good family vehicle for us. Oh, here it comes. Coming up the driveway. He's ahead of schedule. Or you can go up there if you want. Sure.
Ready.
So we have gone through the Rivian with the rep, and he showed us all the features and how to run everything. I have got ready to go on my first outing with it. We did run Micah to school with it, but I like to put carpet samples in instead of using rubber mats. It soaks up the water better and doesn't leave you the wet, cold surface in our climate. So I've got one there. It was real easy to cut and fit some to go there, and I'm going to go out skiing for the first time with it. It's pretty nice that the center folds down so you can run your skis right through. I had a nice cargo mat rug left from one of our Outlander PHEVs that I had bought for that and kept. That fits in here pretty nice. It's pretty much the right thing, other than it says Mitsubishi Motors on it. The one thing I do notice is that the cargo area with the third row is pretty high, so there isn't a ton of storage space in here in comparison to our Suburbans and Tahoes we've had, or even it's a lot less than the Mitsubishis, but the Outlander PHEVs did not have a third row. So otherwise, I'm going to go out here and go out just for the second drive with it. The rep did a really nice job. The only thing we've noticing so far is, for some reason, the vehicle's a little bit confused as to where we are. It's like it couldn't understand being hauled on the truck here, so it still thinks it's in Minneapolis location-wise on the map when we were driving it earlier. We'll see if it's figured it out now. I charged it back up to about 92% here using our 32 amp charger we already had. I did not use the factory charger yet, and we'll just probably keep that packed up. So if you look out the window here, we've got a cold, nice morning. It is about 3 degrees. The car quite hasn't cooled off to that yet, but the roads have iced over good, and Dana and I are going on a winter camping adventure in our Rivian. We got it back from the repair shop last week. It had been out of service for 3 weeks, and hopefully that's the end of those problems, but we're going to be camping below zero using the pet mode as our heat, and see if this is a good idea or not. Dane, what do you have to say about it? Excited?
Yep.
So we're on our way to the Minnesota State High School cross-country ski meet. Leah and Micah are traveling with the team, and they're staying in the team room, but Dane and I are doing our own separate adventure on the way there. So we have currently 303 miles of range showing. I don't believe that to be true because we actually have the heat on too, so we'll see. We've only got 1.71 miles per kilowatt so far since leaving home. So I don't think that 303 is going to hold, and it actually hasn't gone down yet, which is very suspicious that that's not right. But we've only lost 1% of battery. We're in conserve mode as well. So we are trying to get the best efficiency we can. And we'll give updates along the trip and see how it goes camping. We have gone 89.4 miles and we are down to 199 miles of range. So that puts a total range of around just under 290 miles, which is still more than expected for this. With even in the best of conditions, we shouldn't get that range here. So we'll see where it is when we end up, but otherwise we have been getting over 2 miles per kilowatt lately. The last 15 minutes is 2.23 miles per kilowatt. It's warmed up to 19 degrees outside as we've gone east here. There's kind of a storm front we're driving out of. So we started at 3 degrees, at 19 degrees, and the range is doing pretty good. We likely could make it all the way to our destination without charging, but don't know that we'll push it that far. So we'll see. We are 53 miles from what we're hoping will be our next charger. There's a 50 kilowatt that's free in Virginia, Minnesota, and we have 83 miles of range. So it's showing us 23 miles on arrival. So that's what our attempt to do. We have gone so far today 176 miles, and we're showing 83 miles. So that is basically 260 miles of range, which seems more realistic given the temperatures we're having today. That even may be a stretch to get that far. We'll see. So the 303 was a little overly optimistic. We'll see if we can make it all the way there. If not, there's a charger. There's 2 charging locations with fast chargers between here and there. So there's good infrastructure on this route for us if we need it, but we're trying to make it to the free one, so we'll see. Alright, so we're here at the charging station, and thankfully the charger worked. We made it here with 18 miles remaining, and we had gone 229.6 miles from the end of our driveway, and we're charging at 105 miles an hour approximately, 104. So we're gonna let it charge here before we go on to our next part of the adventure. Well, Dana and I went out for a hamburger, and it's been charging for 80 minutes now, and we're up to 155 miles, charging at 48 kilowatts according to my app. We're going to unplug now because we've got plenty for what we need for the next little bit. We're going to plug into the level 2 here and see if it's free as well, briefly, but the 50 kW fast charger is free and working, so we've got plenty of power for the moment. So we're at our final destination, which is the Minnesota high school state ski meet. We got to get out skiing with some friends and teammates here tonight, and we have plugged in for the night with one of the slots that's open, and have set up the back of the Rivian in the bed format, and are now warming up the cabin in here. We haven't been in here for a little while and are going to go to bed, so we are going to go ahead and shut everything down here. Dane, why don't you show them how to put it in camping mode?
So you select the camping icon here, and then you put it on the stay on for the energy use, and then you just push turn displays off, and it'll take a minute and just shut all the screens down there, and then you just, when you want to turn it back on, you just tap it.
So we'll tap it back on here because we got to turn off the interior lights, but
Yep.
we're going to go to bed. Let the climate control run overnight, and we're still gaining at about, looks like it's fluctuating between 3 and 8 miles an hour with the heat running, but we just turned the heat up, so it's running on pretty high right now. So once it warms up in here, probably will use less power. Continue to charge overnight. So overall, our night's sleep was okay. We initially slept well, going to bed around 10:30 p.m. We woke up about 3:30 in the morning, finding that the car was cold and just blowing cold air. For the next 2 hours, about every 20 minutes, if I would touch the screen, it would turn the heat back on, it would work. Then I got up and tried more settings, tried putting it in, just having the vehicle on, and seeing if it would keep the heat on that way, but it continued to turn the heat off after about 10 minutes. What it seemed to do is it would bring it up to temperature and then deactivate it. We went through several cycles of this, and probably at 5 or so I got up and turned it off completely and tried resetting things and really couldn't get it to work. Then probably around 6 a.m. or so, eventually I did decide to call Rivian support to see what they could tell us about camp mode and pet mode, because we were trying both of these settings as well as having the vehicle on, and none of them would leave the heat on, turn on appropriately. And they instructed us to do a hard reset on the car. So we did do a hard reset, which resets all the computers and disables the vehicle for a period of time. And after we did the hard reset, it didn't come back on. The whole vehicle stayed black. So we actually had to do a hard reset again, and then it still didn't come on, which at that point made me a little bit nervous because we are many hours from home and have a dead vehicle. So what the Rivian person did, which I was now on the phone with him because I couldn't talk with him over the vehicle since it was dead, we did a infotainment reset, and which did bring back the cluster for driving, but we still could not get the screen that allowed you to turn the heat on and off or do anything. So we reset the infotainment system again, and that time brought up all of the screens, and it began to operate normally again. So in summary, the way that the bed was laid out was comfortable, but really the heating system did not operate as planned. Also, I should note that the vehicle really didn't charge, even though we were on a 32 amp charger throughout that entire time. We gained not a lot of miles, suggesting that it was using a lot of power through this process. A lot more than I've seen in other videos of people who just left their vehicle on overnight to see how long their heat would last. So something was wrong with the way ours was operating. It seemed to be using a lot more power than it was supposed to, although it was, as I said, very cold out. Well, the Rivian thinks we're going to run out of electricity about a mile from our house, so it's recommending we charge somewhere on the way home. So we're going to stop in Crosby here. There's a charger that doesn't charge you a $5 start fee, so we're going to use that because we don't need to do a very long charge. We'll just stop and have some supper and charge for a little bit, make sure we have enough to make it home that way. So it's 14 degrees out, and we've been averaging really pretty well, 1.91 miles per kilowatt with the heat on. so not doing too bad. It would be interesting to see if we would have made that extra mile without charging, but
With the heat off, we would have.
yeah, but
With no heat.
with it being this cold out, maybe below zero again tonight, that's not a fun experiment to try, so we'll stop and charge for a little bit. All right, so we've got it charging. We're going at 95 miles an hour, 93 miles an hour. So unfortunately, this one did charge the $5 start fee, even though it said it doesn't. But we'll charge for a while here and go get some food. So we stopped and had burritos at Burritos California. I had the spicy shrimp burrito, which was pretty good, and Nate had a beef burrito, which he thought was too spicy. But while we were there, it took us 41 minutes to eat, and we charged that whole time. We got about 60 miles or so, maybe more than that, whatever that would work out to be. At 111 miles an hour it was charging, so but it does end up being kind of expensive, because at 30 cents a minute, that was $12 plus the $5 fee comes to $17 for those miles. So obviously that $5 becomes less if you charge longer, but we didn't have a reason to charge longer. So fast chargers work, but they are expensive. So we'll go home, but that was our entire energy cost for this entire 500-mile trip, was the $17.20. So that's not too bad, but we'll should have plenty of miles to make it home at this point. Well, we're made it to our driveway, and we have gone 498.1 miles on this trip, and we have 36 miles of range remaining. I did drive it out of conserve mode there at the end, which used up more range, so that's why we have so little when we arrived home. But really did excellent on range. It's 2 below 0 Fahrenheit right now, and the vehicle really had minimal range loss to affect the functionality of it. We maybe could have made it, but we had to stop for supper anyway, so plenty of range. So our camping trip was an adventure. We got to sleep in the Rivian, and it did keep us warm. A little bit of hassle, but all in all, things went well. It definitely needs a bath now.